Hey Leo, March is nothing if not exciting, and perhaps one of the most astrologically significant months of the entire year. Not only do we have Saturn leaving the sign of Aquarius and into Pisces, we actually have Pluto joining into Aquarius right at the end here. And so there's been a lot of lessons that you might have been learning about relationships, whether those are personal, intimate relationships, or even just business partnerships, or some sort of cooperative or collaborative relationship. This is now bringing forth a lot of transformation, and this is actually going to bring new cycles for the next 20 years. So there is definitely some change when it comes to relationships, but that could actually be a very positive thing. March is also a very exciting month that's very much focused on the way that you invest your energy that is both emotional, but also potentially even financial. There could be a lot of focus on investments, on joint finances. I do also see the potential for travel or the potential to learn new perspectives or to gain wisdom. And there's just so many beautiful layers to explore in March. If you're excited for this month's reading, then definitely be sure to hit like, subscribe, and the bell notification so you can always stay up to date with what's in the cards for you. For those of you who are brand new to my channel, my name is Michael, and I utilize tarot and tropical astrology to intuit monthly forecasts for your zodiac sign. Now, March is such a pivotal month. I'm actually offering 20% off all of my services if you use the code PIVOTAL on my website. You can find links for personal readings and distance Reiki sessions in the description of this video, as well as links for the astrology blog and all of my other social media accounts. So as I'm shuffling the cards for you, Leo, I am going to just talk a little bit more about the astrology. We're actually starting March off with a beautiful conjunction between Venus and Jupiter in Aries. Now, this is very, very beautiful because Venus and Jupiter are both considered benefic planets or easy planets. They give us blessings. And coming together on the 2nd in the sign of Aries, this could really be giving you some sort of financial gain or something expansive in terms of opportunities, specifically regarding travel. So there could be travel opportunities that are coming in for you. I don't know why I made that so wordy. It can kind of be distracting to shuffle and speak if I'm being honest. But I do feel like there is the potential for you to gain opportunities or to have opportunities to travel. Some of you could also be connecting with someone romantically, maybe abroad or from another culture. I could even see this as maybe making travel plans with a partner as well. These are all things that could make sense because Venus is the planet of love, it's the planet of beauty, it's the planet of wealth, and Jupiter is the planet of expansion and opportunity as well as wisdom. And this is just a really, really interesting way to kind of start the month, and honestly is probably one of the best times to manifest in the entire year. This is a very lucky, lucky time. But that's just the start of this month, and there is a lot happening. And we do have the Two of Pentacles here. So I do feel like there are things that are in shift for you as we are coming into this month, Leo. There could be some changes going on, maybe in relationships, but this is actually probably going to occur more in your daily life. So maybe some shifts in your routine, maybe someone's moving. And again, maybe there is a move. That is something that could be happening. But I feel like there is this delicate balance. And I feel like you've kind of just been trying to keep an equilibrium. Okay, like maybe there's been a lot going on and you've just been doing what you can to kind of maintain yourself as you go through your day, Leo. But we have the Judgment card here. And so even though there is this kind of delicate balancing act of the mundane, there is also something larger at play. Much, much larger. Very spiritual, actually. Let me clarify. Why is Judgment on the table? We have the Hierophant. Yeah, there's literally like spiritual expansion or spiritual wisdom. Some of you might even be leaving a religion, or there is some sort of perspective shift that is of a similar nature. Well, those of you, while others of you may be called to practice. I feel like some of you are learning about magic. You're learning about spirituality. And it's changing everything. And it feels like you're making a decision. And maybe that is what is tied to Venus and Jupiter in your 9th house in Aries. And there will be more and more emphasis on this as we actually go through the month, as we enter into Aries season, especially when the sun enters Aries on the 20th, because you are ruled by the sun. There's something about you challenging authority and challenging tradition. And for some of you, this could be you literally challenging an established hierarchy. But for others of you, this is an internalized hierarchy. You are going against early conditioning within you for your own spiritual evolution or your own emotional evolution. And it's actually bringing a bit of healing with the Temperance card here. But temperance is a very interesting word, because we often associate this card with moderation, with balance. And while that is part of this card, it also comes from the word to temper, which is strengthening metal. And so there is something that is strengthening you. And there's this process like alchemy. And it's like you're burning or melting the impurities out of gold. What I really get from this, Leo, is like you could be taking something maybe from your childhood or belief systems you were once very invested in or once identified with. You might actually be extracting qualities or extracting teachings or beliefs. You are getting wisdom from sources that may not necessarily align with you any longer, but you are extracting something for your own practice, for your own life. You are incorporating things. And with the full moon that we have in Leo on the 7th, this is actually the same day that Saturn is entering into the sign of Pisces. And there really is a lot of transformation for you, because Pisces represents your 8th house of death, rebirth, joint investments, and sexuality. Pisces energy is more or less the ways that you invest your energy, whether that is emotional, financial, sexual, life force. And so there's a very deep and profound transformation that is taking place. And I think it will take time. I don't think this is something that you finish in March, but you're undergoing a transformation, a purification almost, because you're not becoming something else. You're becoming yourself. And maybe you've lost yourself in relationships. You tried to fill what you thought other people wanted you to be, which is very interesting for you, Leo. But there's difference between attention and affirmation. or affirmation and intimacy. And I feel like you are acutely aware of this at this time. And with the full moon in Virgo, there might be this change in your values, actually. There could also be changes in your finances. Maybe that's why things are in flux a little bit. But I actually feel like you're very stable, or you're becoming stable with the Queen of Pentacles. But it feels like what you value, what is important to you, those are the things you are really thinking a lot about this month. And you know, I talked about the potential for travel or learning different philosophies. And I really feel like this is part of this value system as well. Two of Swords. Yeah, you're reviewing something, you're meditating something. There could be some delays this month or some miscommunications, and that's actually kind of just across the board. With Mercury entering into Pisces this month, communication can get a little murky. But it does open us up intuitively. And for you specifically, there's actually a lot of focus on ancestors. Really thinking about this Pisces energy. And I think over the next 3 years, that's going to be a really important calling for you as well. But not just in customs or in practices or in traditions. It's like you are connecting to that ancestral magic, regardless of whether or not your family was practicing magic or whether they realized they were practicing magic, because let's be real, most cultures, most people are practicing magic, and it's just so part of the culture that it's just superstition, or it's just something that is not even recognized. And I feel like some of you may literally be developing mediumship or attempting to contact spirit. What is going on in relationships? What is going on in relationships for Leo? I feel like with this Two of Swords, it feels like you can't assume anything anymore. And it's like you're in a very open state, and that's why there's not like a very decisive energy about you. Tell me about relationships for Leo. Show us clearly, please. We have Justice. Finding balance. Justice with the Page of Swords. So this is really, really interesting and very specific. So I don't expect this will apply to every one of you, but I almost wonder if some of you are potentially looking at marriage, but almost for like legal or financial reasons right now. Maybe you're in a relationship and there is some situation that is coming up where it's like there is a logistic reason for it as well. Not saying that's the only reason by any means. You know, you could be in a relationship with someone, but now there's kind of like this impetus, like, oh, there's actually something going on. I could see that as one interpretation for this. Because there's a lot of learning, and there's like this focus on law with these two, or order, or kind of cause and effect in some way too. If this isn't about like marriage or anything like that, it could also just be like relationship psychology. But it's like you're putting things into practice. And like the Page of Swords obviously is carrying a sword, but so is Justice. I feel like you're learning how to speak or state your needs better. And just how to have more balanced interactions and communication, because I feel like things have been kind of wobbly. And with Pluto entering your 7th house this month, it really is like Saturn over the past 3 years has been giving you lessons and making you get very serious about partnership. Whether those are romantic partners or even just really close friends, or again, like business partners or something. There's been a lot of focus on how you interact, specifically like one-on-one, or with people you consider yourself to be intimate with or invested in. What does commitment mean to you? What does that look like? Those are also things that you've been thinking a lot about. And honestly, like, your relationships could be going through a lot of change. And Pluto goes through a sign for 20 years. So it's not like the whole time your relationships are just going to be in a state of disrepair or anything like that. Even though Pluto does sometimes bring endings, it's also about transformation and rebirth. And there's also quite a bit of power here as well. And maybe that's also something like, maybe some of you are connecting to someone who's very powerful. And there could be some sort of like discussion around finances. But Pluto energy really is like this smelting process I was kind of talking about with Temperance. Tell me more about relationships. Show us clearly, please. 10 of Wands. How to healthily delegate burden feels really, really important to me here. The 10 of Wands often comes up when someone has been carrying too much, or there's too much weight, or there's too much weight put on another person. That's also a way I could kind of see it. It's like you're learning to distribute weight in relationships. And it almost feels like, honestly, when I look at this Two of Pentacles and really feel it, it's kind of this energy of like walking on eggshells. And I feel like you've been in this energy for a while, Leo. And now there's this fire, this transformation. Something has become too burdensome. Some of you might be in the process of a divorce as well. But it feels like it's kind of strategy right now. It doesn't feel like there's necessarily action being taken at this moment. It's very level-headed. What do we have for love? What do we have for love for Leo? Anything else for relationships? Anything else for relationships? Queen of Cups. Interesting how we have the heart here. If justice is the mind, Queen of Cups is the heart. And I feel like there needs to be this balancing here, this rebalancing. And it's like, I almost feel like with justice, and now the Queen of Cups, and even the Page of Swords, there's almost this like, there are certain blind spots, or there have been certain blind spots, and this could be you, this could be another person, it could be both of you, where there's almost this very subtle filtering going on, where it's like, oh, I don't feel that way because that would be wrong. But over time, it's like built up with the Ten of Wands. Like, if there's a conflict this month, I feel like it's been building for a very long time. And so you need to become more emotionally attuned. And maybe that's why you kind of need to be in this Two of Swords energy, where it's like, maybe I don't see certain things. Maybe I have certain blind spots here that I need to analyze and introspect on. Or this is another person. I don't even think there's like necessarily a resolution to this right now. It just kind of feels like there is a lot of examination. There's a lot of research, which is really interesting for kind of a love pull or love spread in a way. Anything else for Leo? Anything else for Leo? We have the Knight of Wands. Very passionate, very exciting, learning new things, going after what it is that you want, not being afraid of scraping your knees along the way. The Star. This is actually healing for you. Being okay with making mistakes is the thing that's the most healing to you. Whether that is allowing yourself to make mistakes or being compassionate with the mistakes you have made. Letting yourself learn and heal. And kind of follow that fire, that inner light. Page of Wands. We do have the Tower, which is interesting. This is actually really cool. Because we have the Knight of Wands and the Star. I kind of feel like this is where you are. You were once the Page of Wands with this Tower. You were inexperienced before you became this Knight. There was this destruction. There was a lot of self-destructive tendencies, honestly, or unhealthy foundations. I get like sabotage here, When you listen to your heart, when you listen to your emotions, it may have felt like sabotage because there was something in you that wasn't healed. And I don't think this is talking about relationships exclusively. This feels like kind of just a pattern in your overall life. There was this time where you lived with passion and kind of almost carefree, but you made some mistakes, and maybe there was even some things that fell apart in that process. But you need that spark. You need that fire. You're a fire sign. You kind of need to be you need to have that gusto. That's healthy for you. And with the Knight of Wands, it's like you have grown, and the Star is actually the card that comes after the Tower. So it's interesting that the Knight comes after the Page, the Star comes after the Tower, and if we actually look very closely, we can even see the Tower in the background of this card, if it'll come into focus here. But there's healing. There's renewal. There's calm. There's wisdom. There's serenity. So I feel like it's almost like you're becoming your old self, but you're wiser. You're wiser now. You've learned, you've healed, and because you're from this healed place, you can now follow your heart, and it's not going to be coming from a place of trauma or wounds or reactivity. And you can trust your intuition more. I'm going to pull an animal card for you. What is the animal wisdom for Leo? Show us clearly, please. What is the animal wisdom for Leo? What is the animal wisdom for Leo? What is the energy that Leo is meant to embody? Interesting. So we have the Scorpion, and this honestly does kind of remind me of the Page of Wands and Knight of Wands, where it's like you're kind of supposed to be a little feisty, a little spunky, but where this becomes unhealthy is when there is resentment that festers or builds, and I'm really looking at that stinger there. And it's interesting that this is like scorpionic energy. We kind of get that with the Tower as well. And you are going to be very much in your 8th house in March with all of this Pisces energy for you that represents death, rebirth. The 8th house is naturally ruled by Scorpio. So there is a very strong scorpionic energy for you. And I think with Saturn there, it's actually going to be pretty pronounced for a while. You're going to be feeling this for the next few years. But part of this death and rebirth is like you becoming who you really are. It's like coming back to yourself in a way, but also like, again, just with more wisdom. And the other card I have here is Fox, which is sort of this playful, even mischievous energy. And it feels like it's you. I don't feel like this is an external energy, because oftentimes when I pull the Fox, it feels like this person or this force that's kind of like teasing or taunting you almost, like trying to get you to move, to make a move, to follow it. No, this feels like you. You have this kind of mystique, this magic. And there's this magnetism that you have. You have a very strong aura, a very strong energy, and it's like there is something shifting internally in you, and even if you aren't shifting anything about your appearance right now, although some of you could be, it feels like there is predominantly an energetic shift, and that's actually the thing that's turning heads. It's not anything you're doing with your appearance, it's not anything that you're doing differently. There's just something about you that is changing, and it's really captivating to people, but it also feels kind of like a little bit dangerous. And so like, let yourself be in this energy. It's almost like a femme fatale energy, and like really, really embodying this. like femme fatale, Don Juan, or as I also have like the them fatale for the non-binary folk watching. Shoot, and we went over time, but I was just saying with Scorpion and the Fox, it's like you are becoming more comfortable with this part of yourself that you made taboo. And you have a lot more power because of that. And those are all the messages I had for you, Leo. We just got over. Sorry for the break right at the end there. I hope that this was helpful for you. Definitely be sure to hit like, subscribe, and the bell notification so you can always stay up to date with what's in the cards for you. I do have all of my links in the description box down below. If you're looking for a reading or distance Reiki session, everything is 20% off with the code PIVOTAL. I will actually be away this month as well. I'll be at a 10-day meditation retreat, so wish me luck. But if you want to see me sooner rather than later, I would definitely book now. You can still get the sale whenever you book, as long as you book in March. But if you want to see me and you want to make sure you can see me in March, I would do that sooner rather than later. Anyways, I will see you all in the next video. Take care, Leo, and have a blessed March.